Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Stripes, who is going to be a Gold Mythic character coming to RTS as part of a 4th of July or American Independence Day event. More information on that event to come closer to the 4th of July, but visually we've never had a Stripes in the game before, kind of like we haven't had a Rosie or an Uncle Sam in the game previously. It's a unique character to come as part of the 4th of July celebration event basically. Visually looks really nice, kind of reminds me of a 3-star from back in the day. I can't remember her name, I think it was maybe Gloria, red-headed character. We never actually saw any other Glorias. Maybe it is Gloria in disguise. Who knows? It's got the bomber helmet on, got a really nice cool weapon attached as well. And it does look like it's going to be like a grenade launcher of some kind. And there's lots of like canisters on her belt and on her back as well. So very much geared up here. Looks visually really cool on the left hand side as well. Now if we look at the stats of Stripes at level 1440, limit break 3, has got a whopping 40,020 attack, 24,456 defense, and 24,456 HP. It is going to be a tough character. It's going to be support, Gold Mythic of course, and it's going to be another character to join the Holiday Heroes Allegiance. Now first up we'll take a look at Stripes' Adrenaline Rush, and it is called This Is America. It's a 55 AP cost rush. Deal 300% damage to a group of enemies, plus 100% damage for each living teammate. This fighter gets 20% attack and defense for each dead teammate, which increases by 40% each turn for the rest of combat. So a reasonable amount going on with this Adrenaline Rush. The first part is deal 300% damage to a group of enemies, plus 100% damage for each living teammate. This means, herself included, this should go up to 800% damage to a group of enemies, but it would be 400% if it was just her left alive. It is worth noting how this would work against walkers is it should clear the screen kind of like OG Rocket Abe, and that could mean that she's going to be really good against towers. It really depends on the signature move and the passives. The second part here where this character gets 20% attack and defense for each dead teammate, which increases by 40% each turn for the rest of combat, which kind of makes her like a hold the line character, which is very, very interesting indeed. There would have to be a character that is already downed, however. If she was to do this Adrenaline Rush and your entire team was alive, I don't think the second half would do anything. But if one character is downed, she should get 20% attack and 20% defense, and then continuously get 40% of each of those stats throughout the fight, even if that character gets revived. Okay, so here we are attacking, and as you can see on my attack team, I have got 2 teammates that have been downed. This obviously means that I am not going to get as big a buff on the actual Adrenaline Rush that I would do if they were all alive. I would get the 300% plus 100% per alive teammate, making it 500% extra, 800% total. In this case it's going to be 600% total. The second half, however, should buff me by giving me 20% per downed teammate, so I should get 40% attack and 40% defense, and that should raise by 40% each turn. We're going to do the Adrenaline Rush. It doesn't matter who we target because it will just target everybody. The only character potentially I should have targeted was actually Jie Feng, because she had camouflage. If you don't target the person with camouflage, it won't do any damage to them. So as you can see, it isn't going to do terrible damage, but we did have a character that absorbed the damage from someone else, and it probably would have been from, I'm actually not sure who it would have been from. Maybe Rosie in the bottom right hand corner, because she doesn't look like she's taken any damage at all. And you can see I've got 40% attack and 40% defense. I'll just do another attack here, and now I should get a buff. Let's have a little look. It goes up to 80% attack and 80% defense. This is not too bad at all. However, against walkers, it should hit every single walker on one side of the map. So if I target this character, I will hit 4 walkers. But if I hit this one, I should hit all 9 enemies here. We do the Adrenaline Rush, and it does indeed kill all 9, making it, like I said, potential actually like a pretty good tower team attack character. Now if we look at the upgrades on this Adrenaline Rush, you can see at grade 3 this character gets an upgrade where this fighter gets 20% attack and defense for each dead teammate, which increases by 40% each turn for the rest of combat. At grade 5 the AP cost is reduced down to 55, so originally it will be at 66. And then at Limit Break 2 it gets an upgrade where plus 100% damage for each living teammate is going to be added to that Adrenaline Rush damage. Now against the walkers that shouldn't be too much of a problem on tower teams, but obviously in actual raids her damage actually isn't too bad if the entire team is alive. 800% damage to all enemies, her base attack stat is 40k, and she can't obviously get any bonuses off of the fact that she is a damage roll character, so her not being a damage roll character is not a problem. It's going to run into issues when it comes to camouflage and obviously the newly released princess, because she is a support character, but could do very well against even something like Merc teams because you can get her to rush almost instantly with Allura, and the animation speed is going to be a little bit faster than someone like Heng Yen to take out an entire team. We will check out the signature move and passives obviously later on in the video to see how plausible she would be to use on a tower attack team, but rush alone it is looking pretty decent. Don't forget that if she gets an attack buff, obviously this is going to boost the amount of attack damage that she's going to do. There are characters out there that obviously do attack damage. She's going to have quite a fast rush as well at 55 AP when you upgrade her. This does mean that you could potentially get her rush off turn 1. So any team that isn't set up properly against AoE damage and significant amounts of AoE damage, because turn 1 would mean it would be 800% hit, is going to be in a lot of trouble. So I like the Adrenaline Rush. Looks like it's got potential in a couple of places in the game. Now next up we have to check out the signature move just to see how, like I said, how plausible it is to use that Adrenaline Rush against towers in war. And it's called Down the Drain. There's an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited. An enemy gets minus 30 AP for 2 turns. If that enemy is of the alert trait, they get minus 40% defense for 3 turns. One other teammate recovers from exhaust. This is a perfect signature move. This should not occur when you come up against walkers. This is a thumbs up when it comes to the tower team so far, but it's also very good when you come up against enemies. An enemy getting minus 30 AP for 2 turns is just a nice bit of control, but if they're alert you also can debuff them, and their minus 40% defense is no joke. We have characters out there with huge HP pools, not including bonus HP, but bonus HP on top. Someone like Nor can easily get up to 200,000 HP turn 1 before you even attack her. So her having minus 40% defense means that Stripes herself has got a really good chance of taking her down with an Adrenaline Rush. One other teammate recovering from exhaust is a nice little bonus. This is going to be able to counter certain characters out there like Rosie, like Denise Lee, that sort of thing, if you think that she could potentially work against these teams. So if we start off here at turn 1, this time we can select the character that we want to do some control against. It'll be minus 30 AP, but because Nor is alert, it'll also be minus 40% defense. This is obviously just going to be nice. There's the AP down, and there's the defense down. You could potentially command Stripes turn 1 and just try and do some damage. If we select Jiafeng this time, we'll hit more characters, and as you can see we do more damage. I think we ran into the same issue as last time where obviously the damage on the target was blocked and it went to Mike, but you can see that Nor took a little bit more damage. She is going to be very tanky, so it's going to be obviously a bit harder to take her down. 800% damage hit is okay, but it isn't amazingly significant. Attack buffs will be needed if you want to nuke really, really hard. However, what we want to see is if I hit the auto button against walkers, will she do her signature move, or will she just ignore it to focus on doing basic attacks to get AP to do the Adrenaline Rush? I'll hit auto, and as you can see she's not doing her signature move, and this is exactly how it would be against walkers in war. In war, they all come from the same direction, so it is a little bit easier to manage, and obviously she would take them all out in one go, but you can kind of see how it works just from testing it. No signature moves are being done. And basically, as you can see, she's going to be wiping the teams down pretty quickly. 2 basic attacks and a rush. Now, if we look at the upgrades on the signature move, you can see at grade 2, it gets an upgrade where if that enemy is of the alert trait, they get minus 20% defense for 3 turns. At grade 4, it gets minus 1 to starting cooldown. At limit break 1, it gets an upgrade where 1 other teammate recovers from exhaust. We didn't see that in action, but I think that's pretty clear. If someone's got exhaust on them, this will recover it. And at LB3, additional minus 20% defense on that alert character that she targets with this signature move. And as you saw, of course, none of this will happen against walkers, which again is a big thumbs up. So far, so good. I don't think the passives are going to make any difference. Just showing you those tests before should make that pretty clear. This is going to be quite nice against alert-based defense teams. She's obviously of the tough trait, so she will do more damage against those characters anyway. But giving them defense down before either she or someone else does hit them hard is obviously very nice indeed. If there is no alert characters on the defense team, like I said, she could potentially be used against Denise defense teams. It's not terrible. She's going to recover some exhaust. You could have other characters in the team that also recover exhaust. Like, I think you could probably team her up with Dale. Dale gives that attack buff that I was talking about before that she kind of needs if you want her to do significant damage. But Dale also does some exhaust recovery too, so you could potentially remove a reasonable amount of exhaust early on in the fight. This is obviously a bit more of a support signature move, but guess what? She is a support character, so that actually plays into her kit fine. So of course Stripes has some mythic abilities. These are her passive skills, and first up she has got Cunning. Because she is a support character, when attacking or being attacked, 30% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. The next one's called Combat Fatigues. At the start of each wave, 100% chance all teammates get elusive for 2 turns. This is actually kind of interesting. Her defensive stats are not very good, but that would be pretty difficult to deal with on a defense team, so you could potentially see some cheesy team come out where Stripes is just thrown in. But on an attack team, this does limit obviously the amount of AP the enemy can gain. They'll still be able to do their early signature moves, but basic attacks after that will not gain AP on turn 2, so their adrenaline rushes will be effectively controlled to a certain extent, which is going to be nicer for you and your attack team. The next one is called Tough Nation. All tough teammates get 30% attack. This does include Stripes, and Stripes herself obviously has massive base attack at 40k, so it's going to get a massive boost on top, so it should go up to 52k plus, which is very nice indeed. And obviously that's going to affect any tough character that you use in a team that Stripes is in as well. Someone like Georgia, something like that. Next up is going to be Backup Plan. At the start of each turn, 100% chance a random teammate gets 50% Halo for 2 turns. Again, this does actually include Stripes. This does work with other characters that have similar. So for instance, if you use Stripes and Akira in the same team, they should give Halo to different characters when it happens at the beginning of a turn. However, if a character has a 1-turn Halo, it could potentially just replace it with a 2-turn. But those 2 characters should work together when it comes to that passive. It's not like only one of those Halos will proc. So as you can see, we've now got Stripes in a team, and you can see that the damage boost that she's going to give is actually pretty significant to tough characters. The damage on Georgia and Carl is massively boosted over someone like Clementine. Just because Clementine is fast, she's not getting that extra 30% boost, which would push her over 100k. If you make a full tough team, you're going to get the maximum benefit from this. Obviously, you're going to be a bit more one-dimensional in your attack team, so you might want to team her up with maybe only 1 or 2 other characters. Georgia and Carl, very powerful, tough characters that she can team up with. So as we start the fight, you can see my entire team has elusive for 2 turns, and we have the 50% Halo landing on Carl. If I just do the defend action with all of my characters, watch the AP gain on all of the enemy. There is none. Not just because one of them is impaired, but also for the fact that when you attack a character with elusive, you don't gain any AP. This is going to happen regardless of the rank of the character, whether they're 1-star or LB3, they will not gain any AP unless they do a signature move. Signature moves just grant AP to the character directly. They don't have to actually hit someone to do it. But basic attacks will not grant AP gain to the defense team or maybe even the attack team in a cheesy team, like I say, unless they remove the elusive or wait until turn 3. And you might have also seen that Laura got the second Halo proc on the second turn. That's just going to continuously proc each turn, but like I said, it could go on to someone who originally got it the turn before. For instance, Carl on turn 1 could have also got it on turn 2, and it just made it a 2-turn instead of a 1-turn. Sometimes it can just be like that. Stripes herself could also have the Halo land on her. It is completely RNG. When we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 1, Stripes gets the first half of Combat Fatigues, where at the start of each wave, 50% chance all teammates get elusive for 2 turns. At grade 2, she'll get the first half of Cunning. When attacking or being attacked, 15% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. At grade 3, she'll get Combat Fatigues Part 2, where at the start of each wave, 50% chance all teammates get elusive for 2 turns, making it 100% chance all teammates get elusive for 2 turns off of 1 copy of the character, and that is going to be up to grade 3. Then we move on to grades 4 and 5. At grade 4, we get the first half of Tough Nation, where all tough teammates get 15% attack boost. This is off the stats screen on the beginning of the fight, like I showed before. And then at grade 5, we get the first half of Backup Plan, where at the start of each turn, 50% chance a random teammate gets 50% Halo for 2 turns. Moving into the limit breaks, you can see Cunning 2 comes in, making it 30% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. And limit break 2, Tough Nation 2 comes in, making it 30% total attack boost to those tough characters. And at limit break 3, Backup Plan 2 comes in, where at the start of each turn, 100% chance a random teammate gets Halo for 2 turns, obviously stacking up with the original Backup Plan. These passives are nice. They are not going to affect the walker potential in towers at all. When you saw me hit the auto button in the previous test on the signature move, that was pretty much exactly what's going to happen against the tower, except like I said before, against towers, walkers all come from one direction. So these passives aren't too bad at all, and I think for the first time we do get a character that boosts the damage of tough characters, because I think the only other characters that did that before that were all traits was actually the characters from Challenge Run. And if you remember, Andre was the only one out of them that boosted defense, whereas the rest did more like trait damage based on the trait they were. But yeah, Stripes comes in and boosts the tough characters' attack stats. Like I said, this will be off base screen, so you can add buffs to this during the fight on top, and they will all stack together. Now, Stripes does have a leader skill because they're not going to be a specialist, and it is all teammates get 40% attack against alert enemies. All teammates get 50 crit for 3 turns. This is not too bad, but it's not amazing at the same time. For her as a leader, when it comes to tower teams, it's not going to make any difference at all. She can't crit her Adrenaline Rush. She can crit the basic attack, so you can maybe see it as a little bit of a boost there. But I think even non-crit basic attacks can take down walkers on towers. Against enemy defense teams, this is, unless you're coming up against like a full alert defense team, this isn't spectacular because it's only damage against a particular trait, which I was never a fan of. I think this is one of the first ones we've seen in the Mythic era like this. But she doesn't have to be the leader. She is going to be getting a kind of specialist bonus. Kind of see that Adrenaline Rush is kind of giving her that hold the line bonus. But remember, a teammate does have to be down for that to actually occur. So she is a leader, but it isn't spectacular. That definitely isn't the main part of her kit, in my opinion. Now, Stripes does have an attached weapon. It is the Savage Grenade Launcher. It has got a 40% attack bonus, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved random bonus attack at the start of each wave. One other teammate gets 50% attack for 3 turns, and in the last slot it has improved rush damage, increased rush damage by 20%. Now this is obviously pretty decent. This is pretty decent, especially the random attack bonus, just giving another character 50% attack for 3 turns. I don't know if this can land on herself. I didn't notice it when I did the walker test. We can test that in a second. The last slot being improved rush damage, it's questionable if this is worth it. You will get a slightly bigger boost than 1535, but you are sacrificing 1535 for the teammates for Stripes, so you've got to decide which one's better for you there. You don't have to do massive damage against walkers to take them down, so you don't need to really worry too much about this boost, but a 1535 boost could just be nice to get crits, and like I say, as much as you don't need the crits, it's nicer to get them, generally speaking. So it's up to you what you want to do with this weapon. I would say the third slot is worth holding on to. She can't get many bonuses from actually attacking enemies because her rush deals damage, her signature move does no damage, and this way she actually gives bonuses out, which is nice because there are quite a few characters out there that deal damage on their rush and signature move, and they don't get really anything out of their third slot. So just to test it out for you again, you can see that she's not getting the attack buff, but she will actually get 50 crit buff. So her leader skill 50 crit actually works as a buff rather than base 50 crit increase, just so you know. So that is a little first look at Gold Mythic Stripes, who, like I said, would be part of a 4th of July or American Independence Day event. We should get more information on that event closer to 4th of July itself. But I think Stripes is actually not too bad at all. She'll definitely do a role within a team if you want to try and set her up. I'm not necessarily sure she'd be good for a leader. It really depends on the teams you're coming up against. If someone does want to stack alert characters, she could be obviously beneficial there. And against towers, she looks really solid. It's just whether she's going to be faster than what people already have. On top of that though, I think she looks pretty cool. I do think she looks pretty cool. What are your thoughts on Gold Mythic Stripes though, guys? Please leave them in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.